Beta, we are live.
Good morning. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. I am Sahito, your moderator for today's webinar. I am from Pakistan and I study English language and linguistics from Mehran University of Engineering and Technology. And I am fellow at Women Ascension Community Outreach. It is absolute pleasure to welcome you in today's webinar, which is on AI-driven communication and ethical storytelling. First of all, thank you so much for all of you for being here. So let's talk why this topic matters for me. Communication isn't just about words, it's about the connection, impact and trust. As a language and storytelling enthusiast, I am passionate about how words shape perspective and inspire actions. With AI performing communication, it is crucial to enhance, not replace that human touch. And in Women Ascension, we champion ethical, inclusive, and transparent storytelling using AI to uplift the voice and drive meaningful change. Let me introduce you to the Women Ascension. Women Ascension is a global initiative empowering women and girls through education, entrepreneurship, and leadership aligned with the key SDGs. Women Ascension foster inclusively ethical innovation and economic growth through mentorship, training, and cross-continental network. We equip women with the skills to drive meaningful change and create a world where they can thrive. So now I would like to introduce to our esteemed speaker, Ma'am Sana Ilyas. She is a lecturer at National University of Computer and Emergent Sciences, an AI expert and the country representative of Pakistan at Women Ascension. With extensive knowledge in AI driven communication, she will guide us through the impact of AI on modern communication, ethical storytelling, and responsible AI usage. Let's give a warm and heartful welcome to Mimsan Ilyas.
Thank you so much, Sahar. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And I am, hi, Tahmina. And I am absolutely delighted to be here today and talk about something that is really very close to my heart, which is AI, how it is changing things within different dynamics, and what are the different things that are taking place, and how is it that we can harness it to communicate not only our ideas, but what is ongoing in our communities as well. So today's session is going to be, I'm going to ask questions along the way. I'm going to show you different techniques that I use. And if we do have time, I may end up showing you a few tools that you can use for your work as well. So uh, keep asking questions along the way wherever you feel like, okay, I want to ask a question. I'm interested in knowing about this. Because again, we know that since AI has come into play, uh, not only education, but how people across the globe are communicating has changed. So it is up to us that, okay, in what way we are making use of the technology, how is it we can harness it for positive change? And in what way can we highlight stories about our communities and create that impactful change, and not only create change, but also discuss aspects related to but also tell other people about what's happening in our communities. Uh, so this, I believe, is one of the ways in which we can do that. So let me share my slides with you. I have written a couple of things on the slides, but it's going to be again something. I hope so everybody is able to see my slides. Okay. So today's session is AI-driven communication and ethical storytelling. I'm going to cover a couple of key components within this. There are going to be some aspects related to discussion, some of the components that have to do with some of the components that have to do with practically showcasing, But what I'll talk about is going to be is going to be a tip of the iceberg as to what are the possibilities that are present there. Okay, so let's have a wonderful and amazing session. Let's hope and let's work towards ensuring that we are interactive and then we are talking about different things that don't matter. Sahar did introduce me. Let me tell you a little bit more. I am a lecturer currently at National University of Computer and Emerging Sciences, FAST Islamabad. I've been in the academia for more than 13 years now. And along with that, I'm also working as a strategic programs coordinator with Skilling Future. And my absolute favorite role definitely is country representative for Women Extension, because I believe this is a role where the impact of what we can do is really far reaching because you're able to work towards upskilling communities and do some amazing work. So, and then I keep on working on different things. So people who follow me on LinkedIn do know about it. That okay, what are the different things that I am working towards? So let's work towards today's session. Um, all of us, as of the moment, do use AI. So just let me know in the chat, what is it that you use AI for in your daily work? Whether you're using it for work, whether you're using it for your personal, whether you're using it for anything else, do let me know that, okay, what is it that you use it for? Because that will help me actually navigate the different examples. Okay, Nurani says that she uses it for personal use. Kausa says that she uses it for studies, for Riha, content writing and designing ideas. Um, Content writing and designing ideas definitely gives you a lot of space for that. Kausar, okay. Fatma also studies. Okay, for education, Rafia says that she uses it for education research. For people who use it for studies, what's your usual? Are you using it for um, helping you with your assignments? Are you using it as a personalized personal tutor? How is it that you are navigating it? Okay. Okay. Zarbaf says that mostly professional use, but very less. Okay. Zarbaf, can you tell me which field you're in? Nine says yes, yes, we use it in every field of our life, but then there are certain aspects. Okay, learning my study topic. Shaza, yes. Okay. Angla says that she uses it for AI for reports, project concept notes, and researches. Yes, this is actually really very good for her. Saha says that she uses it for ideas and brainstorming. Fatma says that she uses it as a personal tutor and help with something. You know, AI definitely has the potential to help you with that as well, with help you with your help you ki- help you with your studies as a personalized tutor. Because again, you have somebody with you who is going to answer the question, help you clarify the concepts in the way that you're able to understand them. So I do believe that's a really good use of that. Kazim says different life issues like tutoring and for study purposes. So because I do think so, I have a lot of students in the audience. So that is where they are using it for assignments, research. Okay, for learners who are using it for research, what are your go-to tools for your research as well? Okay, Aisha says that it helps me give specific information, what I'm looking for, and clarity. Definitely. I think so. One of the biggest advantages of AI within this whole dynamic has been in what way it has been able to assist us. Because a lot of times we hear this debate about that, okay, students are only using AI because they want to copy assignments. And this is one of the bigger debates that we at times hear. But then a lot of times we do forget that AI, how it helps learners or how it helps everybody else along the way in helping them achieve their goals, whether that goal is with respect to content creation, that is with respect to brainstorming, whether that is about maybe, as somebody said, about research. But then when you're using it for research, I will talk about a couple of key things that you need to keep in mind if you're using AI for research. What is it and what tools could help you navigate those dynamics better. So l- using AI, I use AI for a lot of stuff. And then just because I'm also in the training aspect of that, um, I use it for definitely for content looking with respect to content, along with that, brainstorming different ideas. And I believe it's a very good thought partner, not as our replacement, but a very good thought partner alongside me. I can look into, okay, which ideas suit me, which don't suit me, and then go ahead with that. Samra says AI can help us achieve our goals from scratch and can help in many ways. Yes, it can help in many, many ways. You're all right about. Thank you so much, everybody, for your contributions. Let's move forward. Is it easy to differentiate between AI generated content? How do you usually get to know about it that some content is that any content that you're coming across is AI generated? Because a lot of you use social media. How do you see that a certain content that you're coming across is AI generated? So are there certain stylistic patterns present? Is it easy to differentiate? Okay, specific use of vocabulary. So, is there a specific vocabulary that tells you that usually from its structure? Okay, what are those specific vocabulary and structural components? Vocabulary is more advanced, Christine says. Okay. Um, hmm. Okay, Nisha says it uses vocabulary that is complicated. Okay. Any other? Um, One thing that I have basically seen with AI generated posts, especially on LinkedIn, is I don't know if you guys have noticed it, or I think so would have noticed is that it most of the time is going to start off with, I'm thrilled to announce. I'm excited to tell you about this. So that the first sentence again is a very that tells you that okay, this has been generated with using AI. Along with that, yes, the way that you guys are talking about the patterns, the content, and the vocabulary, that component is also there. Because so if you're going to give us very generic prompt to it, um, you are going to get something that is generic. Zarba says, what's your opinion and where to use AI? Use AI as a thought partner. I will not say that, okay, don't use AI at all because I am an AI advocate. Use AI, but use it responsibly because again today's session is going to talk about those components. Any other generic words that you feel like okay this is something which is very AI vocabulary, so most of the time so you're able to see whether or not something that is on LinkedIn or that's on Facebook or any other platform. But if you read an article, is it easy for you to identify from an article that has been shared somewhere that it is AI generated? And have you been able to see, or people who generate their articles from AI, do they write about that as well? Do they attribute it? Have you seen that dynamic happening somewhere? And if you have, where has that happened? So most of the time, because when we talk about AI generated content, it is, yes, when we talk about, because we are on LinkedIn, it's on LinkedIn or on any other social media platform, because we use those platforms a lot. We get to know about it, or there are certain things that, oh yeah, Narani is right that, okay, if we know the author, then we are able to recognize. But most of the time, because there's a lot of information out there, it's not easy to discern whether or not any information that you're coming across is AI generated or not. So it becomes really very important in that dynamic to look into that. Okay, in what way are we going to harness AI? Let's move ahead now. since AI has come into play, definitely things have changed in terms of you would see that as of the moment, 83% of the companies now consider AI as their top priority. There's a typo error there. 71% marketing teams use AI for the content creation, and 67% enterprises are actively exploring AI communication tools. And as students, you are now preparing for roles, or if you're looking into 3 to 4 years from now, you are now actually looking at roles that, as of the moment, are either do not exist, or employers are actively going to look for those particular roles. They are going to look for how AI literate you are, what are the different tools you can use, and in what way. It's not about using a tool, it's not just going to be about digital literacy, it's going to be more about how well can you use them. So learning not only to use them, but learning how to use them responsibly is going to be really very important. It's not very easy. uh, there are dynamics and components. A cousin says that, okay, so, AI models sometimes repeat the same idea. Yes, cousin, that can end up happening. So I have used AI for, because again, you keep on trying on different things, and then you keep on testing that, okay, what works out and what doesn't. So where companies, and you can look into the whether you're looking at the marketing sector, you're looking at the health sector, every sector as of the moment is focusing on how they can harness AI, for how they can harness AI. So regardless of whichever field you're in, it is important in today's time to learn how to learn how AI works, what LLMs, basically large language models, are, and along with that, how is it that you can use it for your own field as well, and with the type of jobs that, or with the type of career that you're looking for. And it doesn't have to be about, and it doesn't just specify yourself to, okay, if I'm going to go in marketing, that's what if I'm going to go in this field. No. Uh, not only should you learn how to work with AI, but also to learn what are the different other issues that are present within AI outputs. So this is what we are going to look at the first component, AI communication, the good, the bad, and the bias that is present. Now, always do keep in mind that large language models are trained on a large amount of data. And they are not these, at times we do call it, and we do believe that, yes, the way that it generates data for us, that it is magic. But what it basically works on is statistical probabilities. Now, if you're going to write, for example, you write Mary had a little, and then give it to the LLM as a prompt, the LLM is going to give you the next word. So it is going to work basically on the data, through the data and the other things that are present within it. Now, the reason that I basically started off with the bias element is so that we are able to basically discern where is it. We are using at the moment AI for content creation. We are using it for writing our emails. We are using it for getting ideas about our work. We're using it in our social media campaigns. Uh, and again, as a lot of people, a lot of the audience members have just talked about, they're using it for studying, they're using it for research. But are we sure that the output that we are getting, or the way that it is guiding us, or the way that it is providing us with suggestions, is that accurate or not? So, this is also something that we need to be very, very careful about. Now, what are the different opportunities and challenges that are present? Number one, enhanced content creation efficiency. Something that used to take us a lot of time earlier. You would have to sit down and think about your content calendar. Okay, now we have to design content for the whole week. What are going to be the different posts? What are going to... So it has actually taken that, it takes our ideas and helps us create that content. Again, I do believe in an 80-20 approach. I do believe that it is really very important that the human within the loop does not get messed out. It's personalized communication at scale. Just think about, you have to write 100 emails to you have to write 100 emails, and you do know some people out of that dynamic for whom you need to write personalized emails, and at times you are tired, you don't have enough ideas, you're thinking about, okay, how to make it better. So if you have a base idea, AI can definitely help you improve it. That, okay, I want to send an email to maybe a sponsor, and they've been really very supportive with our work. These are the campaigns that they've helped with further, and I want to invite them to an upcoming event that we have. What type of tone do I want to use? What is it that I want to highlight? And then it can create something for you, and it's up to you whether you want to use that output, whether you want to go ahead and decide, okay, no, this is either too casual, this is either too formal, I want something that's more conversational in tone, and this is more of an iterative process. Um, and then there are concerns about misinformation as well. And it is accurate that, okay, it's now even more possible than ever to create a misinformation campaign or create misinformation. And this is not just about written content, this is present in the visual content as well. Think about deep fakes, creation of deep fakes. Think about AI generated videos, and how, if not used in the right way, what are the possibilities present there? And if people, if the audience members who are not aware of the dynamics of AI, or whether this is AI generated, or what's the purpose behind this, if this is produced for a certain misinformation or as a propaganda campaign, so what can end up happening there? Because not everybody would be aware of that, and it's really very easy to share fake information. I do believe that, okay, the the spread of fake information or incorrect information is faster than that is of information that is true, because at times those type of narratives tap into the fear factor. They can tap into some other component that humans are scared of, or that taps into one of their own biases. So that is something that can get in it. So there's a growing need for understanding what are those ethical guidelines. It's not about that, okay, we shouldn't use AI. It's all about that, okay, how to use it responsibly. Okay, which tools do you use and for which purpose? Because I do know that, okay, you guys have talked about content creation. I just saw that, okay, somebody, Nurani says that she uses that as a personal therapist, could use there, but then be very careful about it. Uh, so what tools are your go-to tools? And what purpose are you using? Are you using, if you're using or switching between tools, what are your, why is that the case? And okay, Gamma. Kazim uses Gamma, Nurani uses GPT and Gamma. Okay, Gamma is a good tool. For creating presentations, it doesn't take a lot of time, because the only reason I don't use Gamma a lot is that, okay, everybody's presentations produced by Gamma end up looking the same. Okay, Meta, Canva, okay, Gemini, Meta, okay, Chat GPT, Copilot, DeepSeek, Manahil, and Gemini. DeepSeek is good. The only problem is that its servers most of the time are down. Okay, Studio City. Okay, Christine. This is a new one for me. Okay, Deep's extremely slow, and yes, I do like its reasoning capabilities, but the only issue with this is because, again, when you're working and you sit down, you would want it to work for you. Usually, after one prompt, it's like that, okay, the servers are down. Okay, we have used, Huma says, GPT, Meta AI, and Canva for university notes, mostly for exam. Good. So it showcases that, okay, already all of you, I think so, most of you are using Gemini, GPT, and this for your and Meta is also there. DeepSeek, again, if it would work, I would explore. Christine, I will explore this one. Gamma, again, camera perplexity. Fatma, this is one of the really good tools that is there, and I was going to talk about this today. That okay, why you guys also need to be on perplexity. Okay, my go-to tools. I'm going to show you guys those as well. It depends on actually what I want to achieve with it. Shazan, I have Magic School for my learning projects. Magic School is really very good. When I have a workshop for educators, that is a tool that I introduce. When I have, but then Shazan, Shiza, there are other amazing tools as well. Do have a look into that as well. So, you guys are already using a couple of tools. I'm going to add to some of the tools that are there. There's one thing when I wanted to talk about bias today, that had to do with bias that is present in image generation, particularly. Um, Bias is present in other components in the written generated text as well, but there is one issue that it has to do with image generation. Now, for image generation, usually free tools that I end up using is number one is the Bing Copilot, and the number two is I make use of Leonardo. Leonardo gives you about 150 credits for each day. They do get updated. Now, the thing with that is, and then I'm going to share something with you that that I tested yesterday because somebody just said that okay, somebody was telling me the other day, and then I was in a workshop that okay, how AI is going to reinforce certain gender stereotypes, and that interestingly ended up happening. This is Leonardo. I use it if I ever have to uh, test certain image generation elements out. This is a tool that I'm going to go for. For each day, it's going to give you 150 credits, and they're more than enough. You can test different models out here, and along with that, different prompting. You want to enhance it, you don't want to enhance your prompt. Image dimensions, how many number of images do you want? So it does all of that for it's going to do all of that for you. Now, the thing I wanted to actually share, in what respect is it that the idea of stereotypes is was reinforced? So with this prompt, I had initially just written, I need an image of a CEO, and this is the image of a CEO that it produced. That okay, it improved the prompt, and then I said that okay, I want an image of a chef with the wait staff, and I did not specify the gender at all. And then I said with this one that I want an image of a nurse. And you can see that when I said it nurse, because this is a more of a female dominated field, this is somehow that's also something that's present. That element of bias is also a stereotype that's also present in the image generation element as well. And I asked that, okay, if I want to go ahead with a doctor, this is what it gave me. So you would see that a lot of their images are going to be about people who are light skinned, and along with that, they're more Western in nature. So if you're producing content and if you're going ahead with something, and this was something specific, I asked that okay, give me an image of a teacher in Pakistan in her class. And this is something that it gave me because I specified the prompt a little. This is what was present there. So the way that you give the prompt is also going to be so for example, if I write an image, okay, an engineer, and I'm not going to specify anything else. So it's going to enhance the prompt, and then let's see. Again, test out the tool by yourself as well, and then have a look into how it's working out for you. One thing that I needed you guys to be careful about was when you're creating or when you're generating images from anywhere, there is there is a possibility that the generated content may have certain stereotypes or could be biased about certain. So you need to be culturally aware, you need to be inclusive with your work, and you just need to, and again, this is the engineer that it has produced for me. Now let's think about a field that is more that is going to be more female dominated, and then I thought about a teacher, a nurse, um, or if we are going to, for example, we're going to talk about a homemaker, and today's, and again, um, somebody, a house, maybe, or where air stewardess. So air stewardess, again, let's see what it generates for us. But again, I just wanted to give you guys an idea that, okay, when you are creating or generating content, especially something that is going to be more, something that is visual, you need to be careful about such stuff. That there are in, again, it's also based on the training data that, also based on the training data. So just be careful about that. So there you go. So you can see that with fields that are traditionally male dominated, fields that are traditionally female dominated, there is a possibility that there is going to be the stereotype that's represented in the work. So be careful about it. And if you want to, for example, you can specify that, okay, um, a female chef, a female, for example, Pakistani chef in her restaurant with her waits in her restaurant with her team. Now, this is going to, again, if I've just written chef, I'd shown you something earlier that, okay, what it had produced for me. And every generation, you would see that, okay, it's taking around 24 coins. It has improved the prompt, which, again, this is something that Leonardo can do for you. Komal, it is Leonardo AI. And I think so you guys are going to enjoy it a lot. I'm going to share the link as well. So again, with image generation tools, go ahead with something that is, and now you can see. And again, you will realize one more thing that, okay, if it is that, okay, the we have a female chef, but the rest of the wait staff, you would see that, okay, there is this component present as well. So yes, when it comes to talking about, you would see that, okay, facial features, and then skin color, that is something that they've gotten demographically right. The rest of the things, again, slowly and gradually, when you work with it, you will get to learn more about it. Okay. The very good thing about this tool is that, okay, you can create other stuff as well. Okay. Apart from that, let me talk a little bit about something else as well. Kazim, at times the element that ends up happening is that this was the reason that I asked about it earlier. That at times we feel we know about it just because we know about stuff, and that's why I end up asking people about it. What tools do they use? What am I using as of the moment? This is one of the tools that I use. There's also Luma AI. If you can, stable diffusion is there as well. But again, this is a paid tool that I'm talking about. You can use Firefly in video as well. So there are tools out there that you can use for free. You don't have to, as of the moment, invest in things unless and until you feel there is a tool that you invest in is going to be a value addition to you. Now let's move towards the next thing, and this is something that Kazim, that's a good thing. I would love to know what other tools you're familiar with. Okay, Now, with image generation, we talked about image generation, and I showed you that, okay, what are the different things or the pitfalls that can emerge when you are creating. For example, you created an article and you're like, okay, I want certain images that are generated from AI. Do let or do attribute that, okay, this is an AI generated image. Um, and at times do let people know about it in the case that, and be careful about the element of bias that is there. Now let's talk about the second thing that is there. Now, a lot of us, when we are talking about, because again, this is about AI driven communication, one of the things that we need to be careful about is how we interact with any LLM. That whether you're talking to, whether you're talking to Gemini, you're talking to GPT, you're talking to any other tool that is out there. Learning how to prompt uh, is clearly essential. I'm going to just talk about three prompting techniques. The more you experiment, the better you'll get to learn. Okay, what is a prompting technique that works for you? Because that is going to change how what kind of a response you're getting from that you're getting from AI. Is there a certain prompting technique that is your favorite? And I'm going to share mine as well. That okay, which is the one that I at times end up I may at times end up using. So no, okay, act as an expert. Yes, best hooks. I just asked my questions. Okay, Nurani says, okay, act as an expert. Yes, but yeah, that's the persona pattern. Best hooks. Any other that you guys end up using? Okay. The one that I basically use is a lot, and the persona pattern definitely is there. There's a cognitive verifier pattern and humanize it. Okay. What do we, okay, when we talk about that, okay, humanize it, what do we mean by having content that is humanized? So the three techniques that I am going to, and then you guys can write along the way, and then I'm going to read your comments as well. The number one is a persona pattern, number two is a cognitive verifier pattern, and the third one is a RACE. Let's see how those works. My favorite tools are Claude, Perplexity, GPT, and if DeepSeek works, yes. If DeepSeek doesn't work, then my go-to is going to be Claude. But the only issue with Claude is the tokens that are there. Let me show you guys how this is going to work out. I'm going to go back to my screen and I'm going to show you guys. This is Claude. Again, one of my favorite go-to tools. Now, when I have to Black box is really very good if you are doing coding related work. So a lot of my students use that a lot, but they use it for their coding work. Now, the first technique that I talked to you guys about was the persona button. And my go-to tools are going to be number one, it is Claude. Has really good reasoning capabilities, designs really good content, and it has one feature that is the artifact feature. It creates a document alongside, and then again, you can make use of iteration. The only thing that I don't like about it is within the free version, the content limit that it has. The second one, and somebody already has mentioned this, is perplexity. If you're doing research related work, uh, I would suggest that you make use of that. I would suggest you make use of Perplexity because it's going to add in the sources that are present on the internet. So Perplexity is really very good for that. GPT again, GPT has different models and you can you can search the web as well. Okay, again, the free version is going to be definitely is going to definitely have a certain limitation there. Has anyone tried the voice mode yet? On days that I am extremely tired and I don't want to write a lot, that is a mode that I'm going to use. So the first pattern that I showed you guys was the persona pattern. The persona pattern means that you ask it to assume a certain role. Um, that okay, for example, uh, act as a, you say that okay, act as a nutritionist, act as a physicist. What is it that you want to act it as? Um, Mirzan says that, okay, especially when I was practicing my interview, which one did you use, Mirzan? Okay,
Like it was a job interview, but
okay.
for
I
practicing.
Okay, perfect. So did you use okay, you use the voice mode there. Okay. I'll tell you maybe at the end if I have time. I'll tell you about a tool that you guys can use for if you're preparing for your job interviews. I have a session on that somewhere around in April with Scaling Future, but I'll let you guys know about that tool as well. Now, for example, I usually are what we do is we're like, okay, give me 10 blog post ideas for my blog on education. This is what we usually do. And that okay, we give it something that is something that is generic. Now it's going to give me something, and it's going to give me good ideas, not bad ones. Okay, now there is going to be, now I'm going to go with Claude, and I am going to show you guys something that okay, act as what? Act as an expert social media content designer and strategist. Um, you give me 10 ideas for a blog post, for blog posts on Medium related to education technology. Related to education technology, the audience. Okay. And again, you want to specify it a little bit more. You could say, okay, mm, give me the result in a table again, or in bullet points. And again, you can specify. Um, you assigned it a role, and then you would see that, okay, it also is giving me a brief description as well. AI tutors, and then a brief description is present there. And you would see how much of a difference there is with respect to the first prompt that I gave and the second that was there, where I assigned it a certain persona, and then it can keep on asking me questions regarding the angle, regarding what type of other content do I want to include, do I want to have it, do I want to brainstorm more about it? So this is one of the techniques that you can assign. Now somebody said that okay, they used it for the interview, and you can set that you can ask it that okay, act as my corporate interview coach. I am going to give an interview in this company, um, and ask me questions that could be asked there, and help me improve my answers. And this is what it's going to do for you. It's going to identify what are your and ask it, okay, give me a table, identify my strengths, identify my improvement areas, and this is what it's going to do for you. Now let me show you the second technique. um, Again, I'm going back. And for this one, I am going to use, again, you can use it on you can use these techniques on any of the LLMs. The second one that I showed you was the cognitive verifier pattern. Now, in the cognitive verifier pattern, and this is something that this is my go-to technique, prompting technique. I believe that gives me a lot of clarity when I am working, because you want to be part of the process. And again, don't let AI replace you. Let AI be the part of your process. Whether you're brainstorming, whether you're writing the content, use an 80-20 approach, be part of the process. And for me, this technique works really very well. Now, for example, you'll be like, okay, I have to basically work on designing content, and then I'm using some design content, design content components, or if I am, maybe I have a workshop. For example, I have a workshop upcoming. I will like, I have a workshop upcoming, coming with educators, where I have to talk to them about different AI tools and how they can use those tools in their classroom. I have to uh, create an outline for the training, ask me questions. Now, the ask me questions helps me gain clarity about, and then it's going to give me a list of questions that it has. Okay, okay, who are the educators? What are your familiarity level? And then as you keep on writing answers, um, Manahil, this technique is the okay cognitive. This is cognitive verifier technique. If you don't want to look, it's simply I ask it to ask me questions. I give it a context and I ask it, okay, ask me questions. So for example, I'll be like, okay, I want to write, I am not sure, I'm very new to, for example, I want to learn data analytics, and I'll be like, okay, act as a data analytics coach, and I want to learn data analytics. I am a total newbie to it. Ask me questions. And then it will ask me questions. Okay, what is my objective about it? Why do I want to learn it? Similar to how this works. For example, have a look at the technique. I have a workshop upcoming with the educators where I have to talk to them about different AI tools. This is what makes the difference. I have to create an outline, ask me questions. Similar to if you guys get a project. For example, you've gotten a project to work on for your course. Instead of just putting all of your details there, what's going to make a difference is that, okay, have it ask you questions. And those questions will help you gain clarity about why you are picking or why you should pick a particular topic. Let me show you a similar technique that I did with my students, and I was showing it to them as well. And they had to work on a role play related to a social issue. And I said that, okay, try picking up something that's not very typical. And for that, you can make use of AI for the brainstorming process. And then the way that you can come up with a good idea is that, okay, have it ask you questions. Because when you're answering these questions, you are definitely going to gain more clarity about it. Okay, how much time? Is it going to be hands-on? What is it? And then the more questions you're going to answer, the more clarity you're going to get. Try it out. You will get to see, okay, in what way it works out for you, in what way it doesn't. This is one again, as I if somebody asks me what's your go-to technique, this is my go-to technique. Ask me questions, because instead of it giving me all of the answers, it's making I am part of the process. I am answering things along the way, and I'm gaining clarity as to what's ongoing. So do try it out, and this again makes you assess whether it's working out, whether it's not working out. Manahil and Nurani and then Kazan, thank you so much. And I do hope so when you guys try it out, that is something that gives you again more clarity. Okay. The last technique that I'm going to show you guys is the RACE technique. That has to do with, again, a mixture of a couple of techniques. Again, most of the time, it's going to be all about that, okay, how you guys make use of an LLM. Look, something that works for me or what I use AI for is something that may not work for you. So test out in what context or what you're using AI for, how it's helping you, in what way it's helping you achieve clarity and any other thing. So this technique has to do with, and there are multiple techniques out there. It again has to do with what works for you. So figure that out. So the RAC has to do with role, specify the LLM role, and this is again the persona pattern that's being adopted. Action, detail the necessary action. What do you want it to do? Um, Context, again, the more context you're going to provide it, the better result it's going to give for you. For example, you say that, okay, you have a session upcoming that is related to, you have to give people information about, again, related to a certain AI tools that, okay, how they can use them effectively, or how AI can be used as a personalized tutor. Giving it the context that, okay, I have fifth grade students, I have university students, and then which tools do they have access to? Do they have access to a laptop? Do they have access to a mobile? And within the mobile, what are the different things that they are capable of doing? So this is going to make all of the difference. Context, expectation, describe the expected outcome. That is, what is it? And expected outcome is also with related to, okay, what format do you want the output in? So there is an example written. You're an expert in digital marketing. Generate a list of AI tools for effective social media marketing. Instead of just saying, give me a list of effective social media marketing tools, you're again specifying. The more specific your prompt is, the better results you guys are going to get. The user is a beginner, context, and it's telling the context. The user is a beginner in digital marketing looking for tools that can automate tasks. Expectations, provide a list of tools along with brief explanation of how each step will help. Let me copy it from here. And I'm going to show you guys now Perplexity and how Perplexity's response is going to be how Perplexity's response will differ. You can use any other as well. It's not that, okay, you can't use it, but okay. The one thing that Perplexity is really very good at, it's going to give you it's going to actually give you sources along the way, all of the sources, and they can be verified as well. Here you go. You can even add more detailed answer with process. As of the moment, you guys can do a very good work with the free version as well. So it's going to talk about, okay, Canva is there, Loomly is there, Social Pilot is there. And you would see here, when you click on 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can go towards the specific sources that it is citing along the way. So this is what is good with Perplexity, that it is going to give you the sources where it is picking up information from. And then again, there are related questions as well that you can have a look into, that instead of just it asking, do I need to tell you more about this? It is going to ask a few questions, and then you can either ask about these, or you can go ahead and you can go ahead and, for example, I clicked one of the tools, and then I looked at that. So this is what I believe Perplexity is really is good at. That, okay, you can also get to know where the information is coming from. Always double check the information where you're getting the information from. Uh, these are some of the sources you can search for. You can search for videos if you like that. Okay, search for images, and it's going to give you some of the videos that are there, that, okay, what are the good research tools that are present for that are the videos that are there. It can tell you about more websites and more content as well. Again, the more you explore, the more you will get to see what a certain tool can do for you. One of the other things that I really like within Perplexity is their discover is actually their discover feature. You can go towards, for example, OpenAI launches GPT 4.5. And at the end, you can ask it follow-up questions that, okay, um, how is it different from 4.0? Okay, maybe that's a question that I can ask. And then you would see that, okay, it is giving me the example as well. And this is, again, just showing you one of the other possibilities that are present there. So with the discover one, you can look into, you can ask questions with an article with an article that's already present there. Do I still have everyone with me? Of the tools that you've looked at, which tool is it that you would want to test out first? The image generator, yeah, it can actually generate 10 seconds, I think so, 10-second videos as well. Yeah. Perplexity, yes, it's a good tool. For content generation, again, Claude is going to be my go-to. Perplexity, yes, Perplexity is going to give me really nice ideas and sources as well. So if you're using it for research, do check Perplexity out. There are certain other tools that are just research-based tools. So do check those tools out as well in terms that, okay, how can it can help you with your research writing, with your research, because again, there's a lot of data out there. Pinpointing, and if you're able to find out the accurate data in less time and help you learn the information and the insights earlier, okay, wonderful. Okay, image generator, wonderful. I'll have a look at what other image generators list I have, and I will let you guys know about those as well, because this is the one that I have used in my work earlier. So that's the one that I showed you. Alina, I'll tell you about one of them that I've used and showed in my training as well. If we have time somewhere at the end, maybe I'll show you guys a 5-minute demo for that. Okay. I didn't include it here because today was more about ethical storytelling, and I just showed you some of the things that you guys can do with it. Okay, but I'll do that. Okay. Image samples, yes, you can do that. Free pick is also there. Then you have, I think so, Unsplash as well, Textlex as well. So AI hallucinations and the human in the loop approach. So what is a hallucination? And in what way does AI hallucinate? AI hallucinations basically mean that AI is going to create information that does not exist. And why it is going to do that? Because either we have prompted a certain information and then it has to produce the work for us. That is the reason that it ends up creating that incorrect information. So when you're using AI, or when you're coming across any work that's AI generated, just make sure that any information that it's producing for you, because a lot of you said that, okay, we're using it for research work. If you're using GPT for research work, be careful about these things. It can give you a citation that is not true, and that has happened to us multiple times. And that's why it's important that you do not forget about your role in the process. The human in the loop approach is really very important. Have a look at something like this. So these are some of the examples of AI generated misinformation. So fabricated citation. And this is a citation, and this is a research that does not exist. It can invest into historical fact as well. The ruins of the lost city of Zenthera, discovered in 1893, reveal an ancient civilization that predated the Mayans by centuries. False medical information can also be there. So it's not just about that, okay, every information that you're coming across in AI, if you're getting it, if you're asking it to help you with some of the, you are it's crunch time, you have to submit an assignment and then you have to incorporate sources in that. And then you're like, okay, give me 5 sources and this has to be that. And just because it has to give you that response, it may not be accurate. So again, cross check any information that you are coming across, because we have prompted the LLM to produce that work for us. It is going to produce that work for us. Again, the way that we are prompting it, that also matters. What purpose we are using it for, that matters. So it's not just that, okay, it just gives us misinformation. It has to do also with what is it that we are asking it to do. So this is basically, whenever AI is giving you incorrect information, that does not exist. It's called a hallucination. So AI hallucination definitely is an established fact. So be careful about such. You have to be careful about such stuff. Now, for example, um, in our local context, in our communities, for established conspiracy theories, for established misinformation, the AI can tell you that, okay, I will not, because this is incorrect, I will not be able to produce an article for you. But what if you give it misinformation just because you feel like, okay, I want to test something out, something related to your local context? And just because people around you or people internationally in other communities may not be aware about that, it can end up producing incorrect information if you haven't double checked it before sharing it, or if you've deliberately, or if some people have deliberately created that misinformation. There are far-reaching repercussions of that. So it does work on your emotion. Tahmina, Uh, again, what do we consider the truth as and what's relative? And again, it does work on our biases as well. So, if there is a certain idea that we have in our mind, it can work on that idea. It can work on reproducing that bias as well. So, is there a way we can train ourselves to critically assess AI generated content? Any technique that you guys or have looked at or would want to address? Again, Tahmina and Nurani are talking about that, okay, how they are basically using AI and in what way it corrects them or lets them know about that. Um, with any technology that you are making use of, always do keep in mind it is technology by the end of the day. The human who is working with it, that matters. How we are talking to it, that is going to matter as well. What prompt we have given it. What is it that we are asking it to do? Now, training yourself to critically assess AI generated content is important because we are coming across a lot of content that's AI generated, whether it's in the form of deepfakes, whether that is in the form of AI generated content. And again, we always, just because we are scrolling, we are not always going to look up information. We are not always going to look up that information. So instead of just believing the information the way that it is, just search that information, whether that is true or not. And even when you're creating something, for example, you want to create an article, you want to start content writing, and you're like, okay, I want to create something for Medium. Double check, because it is our responsibility as global citizens to ensure that we're producing something that is true. We don't want to be part of the misinformation in an already divided world. Pattern learning of AI models, again, AI models are getting better day by day. Uh, Sometimes it is glaringly obvious, sometimes it's not. Um, Because again, we are going to take up information and then we're like, okay, let's modify this here, let's modify that here. But then it's getting, AI models are getting really, really, really very good. So in that way, I think so. The way that we can work with it is to be really careful about it. We ensure that okay, we cross check, make it a point that we cross check data. Not all the time possible, because when we are scrolling, again, I don't think so. That is one of the things that we are looking at. So be careful about any information that seems too good to be true. If it's talking about a certain community, uh, just have a look at that information. And then moving on towards, yes, Sahar says that AI may misrepresent cultural nuances, priorities, and perspectives. And the reason for that is because a lot of the data that is present, or a lot of the data that AI has been trained on, is data that comes from the West. If you look into that, we say, okay, it doesn't give correct information about Pakistani history or any other country's history. The reason for that also is that good training data for these communities, for these countries, for these for is not present there. So that is why at times it may end up working on the information that it had available from the sources that were there. So if we at times say that, okay, it cannot tell us about cultural nuances correctly, it is not going to tell us about different other things related to our local communities. This is one of the reasons, because a lot of the data about our local communities is not documented. And just because it's not documented, or it is not, for example, it is not the data that it has been trained on, that is one of the things. Just because we are asking it, for example, we ask it to tell us something about that, okay, um, about our country's history or of certain communities, a minority community's history. Just because it may not have the correct information, it can end up producing that is something which is incorrect. So that's why I'm telling you all to be really very cautious about it. That okay, again, the training data that it has, again, there are certain limitations with respect to local context there. Um, Cultural nuances we understand because we live in those communities. What are the social and cultural nuances that are present there? Even with, for example, with data related to or information that you're asking related to religion or any other thing, be very, very careful about it. Again, by the end of the day, a large language model talks about statistical probabilities. It's not always going to give you accurate information. So this is something that we need to be careful about. So why ethical storytelling matters in today's world more than ever? Number one is that, okay, AI is basically the AI and the misinformation threats. And just shared with you guys that, okay, what could be the misinformation there? It could be based on certain something that hasn't happened. Um, it could be about something that is political, social, and then bias and representation challenges. Now, I just showed you with related to image generation, what could be the bias and representation challenges that would be present there. Uh, and in what way we can play a role as conscious citizens, and then work on ensuring that any article that you're writing, any image that you're getting produced, that is inclusive, that that not only is inclusive but is also keeping in mind each and every person that is present there, the community or the audience that you have present. You don't want to in any way marginalize anybody. So make use of all of these components in an ethical way. Another reason why ethical communication or why ethical storytelling matters is the power of virality of social media. Any information can go viral. And it can be, for example, a short video that is of an AI generated, of an AI influencer. AI generated influencer looks very human like, and it says something about that. Okay, if you do this, this is what you're going to, a benefit that you're going to get from a certain product use. Now, or if a certain major political, certain major social figure, if their video somehow has been altered and it has gotten on social media, by the time we get to the correct information, the incorrect information has gotten to too many people, and it can have far reaching consequences as well. Just think about a thought leader in your community. um, think about the possibilities of what are the certain disadvantages that are present there. And another thing why this matters is if we over rely on AI, there is the loss in critical thinking as well. Now, we do say about using AI, but use AI, and again, and as I keep telling in all of my lectures and all of my trainings as well, use AI as a thought partner. Don't let AI replace you. Already in a world where there is this talk happening about AI replacing humans with jobs and all of that, if you give it the task to think for you, it has already replaced you. But if you're using it as a thought partner, you're learning how AI works. You're learning how you can use it to amplify the stories of your community, what matters to you, and in what way learning about that or recording that is important. That is different than just letting it think for you. Because if you're letting it think for you, you're already letting it replace you. Now, what are the different stories that you would have for your own community? It can be about a certain initiative that your community is taking for maybe for digitizing and saving a language that is dying. Stories in your own local languages and community, because it is in your local languages and it is with those that, okay, the culture is associated. A certain initiative your community has started, for example, for educating youngsters, for helping somebody, you can use AI to amplify and to help you write those stories for you so that they other people can become part of the not of, only of the process but also of uh, but uh, but also be inspired by it. So this is what AI can do. Don't let it replace you. Already we're already in this existential crisis that, okay, what is it, what's it going to do to our jobs, what's happening, are we ready for a world that is there? So use AI again very responsibly. So AI is a tool, not a truth machine. AI generated content always needs to be fact checked, ethically guided, and then again, the human oversight component needs to be kept in mind. So, whenever you're using it, use it responsibly. Key principles of ethical storytelling, and this was a question that was asked by somebody that, okay, what is it that we can do? Number one, transparency and AI disclosure. If you're making use of AI, you can just write it maybe at the end somewhere that, okay, used AI to maybe improve the language and the structure. Because again, I do understand that for everybody, English may not be the language in which they think in first or the language in which they work in first. And there could be issues related to structure and grammar. So give it your own idea from the start and then ask AI, okay, work as an expert editor and help me improve or give me suggestions of how I can improve my article in which I am documenting this initiative that my community is the initiative that my community is taking. The second one, the human in the loop approach. Again, always and always, the human in the loop approach is important. 80/20, yes, even if you're getting information generated from AI, do look at it. Look at it, read it, review it, double check the sources, even if you're making use of Perplexity. Again, because Perplexity or any other data source is going to pick up information from the internet. You need to be, because again, not everything on the internet is true. Um, you need to make sure that there is diverse and inclusive representation for all of the members in your community. So AI, as we just showed, showed you an example just of image generation, but also with respect to the other information that it can give you, there is a possibility that it's not inclusive, that it's marginalizing certain communities. Just make sure that you are that you're careful about that stuff. Then ethical and AI prompting curation. The way that you're going to, again, repeated this earlier as well, be very responsible in terms of how you're using it. If you're going to produce misinformation because you weren't aware of the correct information, or you deliberately in any way, just as a prank even, produced misinformation, and somehow that has gotten viral, or that has produced certain other versions of it, that is not the right way of using it. So it's not about that the technology is wrong. It's as humans how we are making use of that technology. Avoid sensationalism and manipulation. And it's very easy to manipulate AI to adding sensational. Okay, create an article that makes use of, or mm, that is persuasive and tells people that okay, how drinking, or how maybe drinking uh, 4 liters of water is going to help you lose weight. Make sure that it's persuasive, it's interesting, it's catchy, and clickbaity, and it's going to produce that. It's not that okay, there are maybe in the start it's going, there are certain safety measures that are present within AI, but if you say that okay, I'm using it for this purpose only, but you end up using it for a different purpose altogether, not on AI. It's on us how we are making use of that. And then the most important thing, continually learn about new AI models. What's different? What are the different ethical concerns that have popped up related to it? Are they making use of your training data? Are they making use of what is it? What is different with this version? In what way it can help you enhance your work, whether you're doing research, whether you're studying? What is it really good for? So it has to do with all of these factors. It's important that as learners, or as people who, or as citizens, global citizens, when we use AI, it has to do with all of these things. That yes, use it as a thought partner. Number two, the human in the loop approach is important. Number three, keep learning about it and be careful about its usage. So the future of storytelling, and when we talk about storytelling, when we post about how our day is going, that's also a story. When we talk about what an initiative we have taken in our community, uh, what work you're doing in Women Extension, that's also a story. And you can maybe assess a story for a bias. Have AI analyze a story for you. Is there a certain bias that's present? Am I looking at something that is inclusive? Is the information correct? And just go online and just to double check the information. So a lot of times you will say, okay, I'm not going to use AI at all. That's also a denial approach, or a banning approach is also not a good one, because employers are looking for these skills, are actively going to look for these skills. So the future of storytelling is not about, or communication. When I talk about storytelling, it is about communication. It isn't about rejecting AI. It's about using it responsibly to create narratives that inform, inspire, and include everybody. So, and this is by the end of the day what all of this is about. And I do hope today's session gave you a few ideas to work with when you're talking about AI-driven communication, when you're talking about ethical storytelling. If you guys have any questions, the floor is open. And do let me know if there's any questions you guys have regarding a technique, a certain tool that you had in mind, and any other aspect.
Thank you so much, ma'am Sana, for your insightful presentation. Now let's open the floor for questions. Please type your question in the chat box, or you can just ask it by opening your mic, and we will address as many as possible.
Tahmina said that, okay, how can we balance AI efficiency? Can you name the sites that we can use for interview preparation? I think so. It has to do with, okay, there's one that I definitely do suggest my learners. Okay. So Mm, mm. Because there are two, and I want to give you the one that is definitely okay. Hmm. It is Udly. I'm going to type it here. And and look, Marjan said that okay, you can use GPT as well. The good thing about Udly is that you can record yourself, and it can give you statistics about that. Okay, while you were speaking, with the questions that you talked about or the questions you answered, um, uh, where were the breaks? How good was the start? How many words you speak per minute? And what else is it that you can do? Okay. So this is one of the tools that I have used and tested it out for a course that for a session that I had to do for I was working on for my students. Any other questions? Somebody asked about a research one as well. Okay, let me let me find that one. Okay. Look, for all of these, do keep in mind you can go ahead with the free version as well. Uh, It's not necessary for you to invest as of the moment till the point you feel like, okay, it's absolutely necessary to invest in one. Okay. For research, this is one of the tools that I'll suggest you guys. Okay. It's size-based. And what it does is, let me log in for you and then, okay, it's been a little, even though it has my, okay. Now, what it does is that it can give you information. You can give it a question. Okay. For example, how does social media affect the car? Again, maybe I want to talk about, or I want to have a look at, um, hmm, yes, I want to have a look at impact of AI on the learning, on the learning process. It will suggest me a couple of questions. What role in enhances, well, how does the integration of AI and educational system impact the overall process of learners? And okay, that's a question that I have used. I click it and the first thing that it will do is that it will give me a couple of research steps. And along with that, it will talk about that, okay, this is enter your research to enhance your queries. Another thing that it does is, and if I'm going to go ahead with this one, the standard one, it's going to give me, it's going to give me answers from the top 5 papers that are there with, again, all of the, um, with the, again, with the citations that are present, the top 10 papers that are there, papers, what are the insights, and I can add columns. Too long, did not read, what are the conclusions, what are the results, methods that were used. Okay, I want to have a look at what methods they used. One, I want to have a look at what were the limitations, and I want to have a look at the research gaps because again, you want to, if you're writing a literature review, you want to have a look at the research gap. I think so you're able to add around five uh, you can have around five in this one. Another thing that you can do with this one, again, the more you use it, the better you are able to work on it. You can even chat with the paper. Open the paper up again because you want a better understanding of how it works. Open the paper up, ask questions, explain the results of methods used in this paper. Okay, you can ask more questions as well. Again, the more that you are going to use it, and it's going to talk about, okay, methods used, it was a case studies, surveys and questionnaires, where this was what the data analysis was. You can gain a better understanding of your paper. So is this something that you can use for your work? How can AI, Zoha says that how can AI help in preserving authenticity while automating content creation? Now, when you use the human in the loop approach, and then if you keep yourself as part of the process instead of just Zoha telling it that, okay, create a blog post for me or create a LinkedIn article for me on this topic. And what it will do is that, yes, it's going to create a LinkedIn topic, it's going to create an article for you, but then it wouldn't have what makes you unique and what were your ideas about it. So, for example, you're in health sciences or you're talking about literature and you want to talk about how reading literature or why reading 1984 in today's world matters even more because you've read the paper, you've read the novel. You can share its insights and there's like, okay, help me write it. These are the ideas that I'm thinking about and help me outline the ideas. Once you have the outlined ideas, you can write it and then write the article and ask it that, okay, help me improve it in terms of is there any grammatical or structural errors. Either you can ask it to improve it or ask it to suggest you improvements. With suggestion of improvements, you will then incorporate those yourself. So your authenticity or your voice isn't going anywhere, okay? Hmm. Sending photos, email, screenshots, and any, yes, it does. Nazi, do not give it real information regarding your address or any other thing, especially if you're asking it to improve your CVs or resumes. Do remove that part out so that you are so that you're just having it work on the other stuff. Yes, with respect to images, your image will become part of the training data then. So yeah, that is a concern at that moment. The Sabur says, how can we make sure that AI generated content remains authentic and unbiased? Again, did address that, but then one thing that, okay, you stay part of the process. What makes me unique is different. What makes you unique is the experiences that you have encompassed over time. So make those experiences part of the process. Again, just because AI generates something for us really very quickly, we believe that, okay, it's good as well. It's going to create something generic. Now, for example, if I ask two people to, and then this is something that you would have seen that, okay, give a presentation on cryptocurrency or give a presentation on social media and then impacts of social media. Now, there is a possibility that two to three people may have the same hook, may have the rest of the data as well. And the reason for that is the generic prompt that we have given, and we have not made ourselves part of the process. If we had talked to the LLM and showcased and shared our experience as well along the way, that would have made our work unique. Now, if there are four students in the class and they have to submit an assignment, if they haven't made ourselves part of the process, that's what's going to happen. And with related to biasness, look, it all has to do with the training data. Uh, and then you need to look at the output that it gives you. If you're not looking at the output, it's going to end up there is a possibility that it's going to end up reinforcing a certain stereotype that's present in the training data that it had. And a lot of the training data, most of the training data that it had, again, comes from the West. And you already know in the West what information it could be given. So this is something that you need to be careful about. Any other question that we have? I think so. We have 1 to 2 minutes. Nai, thank you. Thank you again. Thank you so very much. And I do hope that you took that there are certain value addition strategies that you're taking from today's webinar. Do try these tools out, do try the strategy out, and do let me know that how it works out. Connect with me on LinkedIn as well, and let me know how it worked out for you. Because again, I always like learning from my learners as well, what they've tried, because again, you guys are using things in so many different ways that I may not be using it. And I use those as use cases and examples. Okay, this is what my learners have used it for, and we've gotten really very good results with that. This is the strategy that they applied, and this is what worked out for them. So I do hope that you guys have taken something, or if you have taken something from this session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, ma'am. As we wrap up, it is clear that AI driven communication is transforming how we connect and share stories, but ethical responsibilities of human oversight remains key to ensure authenticity and real impact. A special thanks to Ma'am Sana Ilyas for her valuable insight and guidance. For expertise, you have deepened our expertise and understanding of ethical AI in communication, and we truly appreciate your time and wisdom. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me for this session. I
And of
look forward to connecting with all of you, and I look forward to some having you guys in some future sessions as well.
And a huge thanks to all of you for joining this important conversation. Let's continue advocating for ethical AI storytelling and responsible innovation. Stay tuned with Women Ascension on Facebook, Instagram, or on LinkedIn for more insightful webinars or exciting topics. Thank you for being with us.